Israeli forces have blown up at least 23 residential buildings in the occupied West Bank. The blast targeted the Jenin refugee camp as Israel steps up operations in the area following the ceasefire in Gaza. Thick clouds of smoke rose above the camp after simultaneous explosions. Israel's army has been conducting operations across the occupied West Bank for nearly 2 weeks. Israel says it's targeting Palestinian fighters and seizing stockpiles of weapons. At least 27 Palestinians have been killed. The Palestinians have been mourning 5 people killed on Saturday after a series of Israeli strikes in Jenin. The bodies of victims have been carried through the streets. A 16-year-old and a paramedic are among the dead. Hamda Salhout has more on this now from Amman. She's there because the Israeli government and Palestinian Authority have banned Al Jazeera from reporting inside Israel and in the occupied West Bank.
The Israeli military says it demolished 23 homes in the Jenin refugee camp, claiming that some of them were used as military command centers, but there was no evidence or proof given to back up that claim, similar to what we saw over the last 15 months during Israel's war on Gaza. Now, the siege of Jenin has been going on for nearly 2 weeks and has displaced 15,000 Palestinians. Israeli forces had made them evacuate their homes by sending warnings on drones and on loudspeakers from army vehicles, telling them to get out or that they would be killed. Now, right after those evacuations had happened, the Israeli government denied any sort of measure. But Palestinians say that they're still suffering across the occupied West Bank because this raid is being felt all throughout the Palestinian territory, with several roadblocks and checkpoints that the Israeli army has put up as part of its new offensive. The Israeli military has been saying for weeks since the ceasefire in Gaza had taken place that they were gearing up for large-scale military operations in the occupied West Bank as a way of combating armed Palestinian fighters within Jenin and the refugee camp. But now the army says that this operation is expanding to other parts of the Palestinian territory. Hamda Salhout, Al Jazeera.
Francesca Albanese is the UN Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territories. She says Israel is emptying the Jenin camp of its residents because it wants to deport Palestinians.
I am extremely worried because my predictions are becoming more and more real by the day. As I've said before, already in October 2024, I warned the international community that the Israeli assault against the Palestinians in the West Bank and in East Jerusalem had intensified while the genocidal assault was ongoing in Gaza. Of course, the attention was on Gaza because the number of people slaughtered on an everyday basis was enormous. However, in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, we have continued to see people killed, homes destroyed, and the largest land annexation in decades. However, since the ceasefire, all this violence, which had already killed 850 Palestinians in the West Bank alone, including nearly 200 children, has escalated. And now we see the bombing of entire residential buildings. I receive reports that Jenin refugee camp is being emptied, that is the Israeli army is ordering the population out. Thousands of people have been kicked out. Why? Because Israel is after each and every Palestinian in the occupied Palestinian territory. They must move. This is the message for them. And this is why I think that we should be very worried about the genocidal assault against the Palestinian having expanded to the West Bank.